There's value to the old things, the old ways, the old customs, the old traditions, but occasionally we need to be infused with something new. And so to illustrate his point, Jesus tells this story. Look at it with me in Luke's Gospel, chapter 5. Their next complaint, these religious leaders, their next complaint was that Jesus' disciples were feasting instead of fasting. They said, John the Baptist's disciples are constantly going without food and praying, they declared, and so do the disciples of the Pharisees. And they say to Jesus, why are your disciples whining and dining? Jesus asked, do happy men fast? Do wedding guests go hungry while celebrating with the groom? But the time will come, Jesus said, when the bridegroom will be killed, speaking of his crucifixion, and they won't want to eat. And then Jesus told this story, this parable, this illustration. He said, no one tears off a piece of a new garment to make a patch for an old one. Not only will the new garment be ruined, but the old garment will look worse with a new patch on it. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, for the new wine bursts the old skins, ruining the skins and spilling the wine. New wine must be put in new wineskins. In this day, they didn't have containers like we have, and so they would put liquids into animal skins that were carefully sewn together. Now, I am a teetotaler. I know nothing about wine, but my understanding is that if new wine, unfermented wine, is put into brittle old wineskins, as the wine begins to age, as it begins to ferment, the old skins would eventually burst from the gas expansion. And then, Jesus says, you've lost not only the contents, but you've lost the container. The new year will bring three things to every one of us. First of all, it'll bring new problems that will require new creativity. Problems, nobody likes problems, but when you stop and think about it, problems are actually good for us because they make us think in new ways. Proverbs 18 verse 15 says, wise men and women are always learning, always listening for fresh insights. You see, what had happened to these old religious leaders is their minds had lost their elasticity. They couldn't accept anything new. They couldn't buy into anything fresh. But if you've ever had a new job, you know it requires new skills. A new relationship requires new ways of relating. And we're assured that this new year is going to require a new plan, a new strategy. Second, the new year will also bring new pressures that will require new convictions. Convictions are important in our lives. They hold us steady. They keep us in the middle of the road. They hold us on to the right path. Romans 12:2. This is a great verse. Don't become so important because of all the pressures that our culture is placing on us today. Look at this. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Begin the new year. My encouragement to you, even this week, even today, why don't you stop and think about the convictions in your life that are going to keep you on the straight and narrow in 2017. Because there's going to be pressures. We're in a changing climate. We're in a changing culture, politically, economically. We're going to face things that we've never faced before, and we've got to stop and say, what is it that's holding me in the road? What do I value more than anything? No matter what the pressures I face, what are the things in my life that are going to be unchangeable in this new year? Finally, the new year will bring new possibilities that will require new courage. Look at what God says to us through the prophet Hosea, chapter 10, verse 12. Plow new ground for yourselves, plant what? Righteousness. And reap the blessings that your devotion to me, God says, will produce. It's time for you to turn to me, your Lord, and I will come and pour out a blessing upon you.